Hi everyone. Thanks for joining this meeting. I hope you all are doing great today. I'm audible. Can someone confirm if I'm
Yes, you are
audible?
audible, sir. Audible.
Yes.
Good, 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 good. So anyone just quickly let me open my slide before I ask anything. Okay, so anyone quickly just define what is a firewall? Anyone want to define? Meanwhile, I'm just trying to set up. Any answer? What is a firewall? Because just to recap. And what is a firewall and why you use the firewall?
Firewall is a network device we always use to protect our data and threats
Okay.
inside and outside both. We also create the policy according to you and filter the URL uh, and you can always protect your network like this.
Very nice. So guys, it's very important. We have the multiple vendors available in the market. If we talk
Mm.
the multiple vendors, we have the almost 8 to 10 leading vendors and the major vendor also available who might be not leading, but they are also available in the market. So if you go and check the vendor list, it is going to be too much. You can see Cisco, Alibaba, Juniper, Huawei, Microsoft, Amazon Web Services, Sonic Wall, WatchGuard, ForcePoint. So Palo Alto, Checkpoint, Barracuda, Hillston, like Sankhos Technology. So we have a lot of things available in the market. But the basic principle, we should know what is a firewall and why we use the firewall. And I believe everyone know. Anyone in the class who don't know about the firewall or miss this session when I discussed about in the past lecture, just to recap, anyone? So I'm assuming everyone have the idea. If you guys have any clarity, if you need any clarification, just let me know. I'll redefine that. What is the firewall and what is the use of firewall? Now, what is the agenda today? At the today agenda, we are going to talk. Let's suppose you have the brand new firewall and you have to configure the firewall. You have the brand new firewall because we have done discussion about the firewall in our previous class and we have seen how firewall is going to be look like. And we have done port level understanding. We have done how to connect the cable on the management port, how to connect the cable on the console port, what is the use of this management port, what is the use of this console code. We just discussed theoretically, right? But we never tested about it. So now it's time to do the testing. We have to understand step by step how basically this Palo Alto firewall is going to be configured. If somebody is doing the my FortiGate batch step by step in both classes, they can easily correlate because yesterday we done the FortiGate, today we are doing the Palo Alto, tomorrow again FortiGate, day after tomorrow Palo Alto. So the course is going to be absolutely same parallelly. So you guys are going to get exactly understanding what is happening in the FortiGate and what is happening in the Palo Alto, right? And it's very easy to understand. You are easily going to differentiate what is inside of this Palo Alto and FortiGate and why they are very famous in the market. So now let's start. So we have the two option again in the Palo Alto and the FortiGate. The firewall, let's suppose you are going to buy. So if you're going to buy this, let's suppose firewall, the model is 820. So you have to purchase the firewall from Cisco. That's the one. And this firewall is basically known as the hardware-based firewall. Hardware firewall. But you have the another firewall that's known as the software-based firewall. That is basically known as the virtual firewall. So what is the method? If I have the virtual firewall, then how I can configure? If I have the hardware firewall, then how it is going to be configured? So let's talk one by one. So if you have the hardware firewall, let's suppose you recently purchased this firewall from the Palo. It is going to be cost around 5 plus lakh rupees. It is going to be around 5 to 8 lakh bracket. Even more than that, if you have the more licensing is going to require, its cost is going to vary license to license. So if you have the more license, you have to pay more. If you have the lesser license, you have to pay lesser. So it's depend what you looking for. But let's say I have a budget of the 5 to 8 lakh rupees. I just purchase the firewall. This firewall, this firewall can work as a switch. Very important. This firewall can work as a router. This firewall can work as a firewall as well. Most important, they can work to control your any type of traffic. Means firewall having a, because this is the next generation firewall. So next generation firewall can do the layer 2 inspection, can do the layer 3 inspections, can do the layer 4 inspection, can do the layer 7 inspection. They can inspect your URL. They are going to inspect your user ID, means AD integration. If anything you have done, they are going to inspect your machine level information. I'll show you how machine means your machine OS information, your machine manufacturing informations, your machine MAC level type of machine is a fax machine, it's a computer machine based on their MAC address. And most important, their payload. Means the content is going to be also inspected. So the firewall, it's a single solutions. Means you can use as a port, as a switch, as a router, as a firewall. So might be you have a question. So if this firewall is going to solve my all purpose, then why I need a switch? Why I need a router? Right? Makes sense? It's logical. So definitely you don't require this switch and router, but it's depend on the conditions. It depend on the conditions. What is your scenario? Let's take an example. Your office having 100 users, okay? And you want to use one of the firewall. Very simple example, okay? Or let's not take 100 user. Let's suppose you want to 20 user in your office have, and all are the LAN user. And let's suppose you do not want to buy switch. You don't want to buy a router. You just want to purchase this firewall. Can I solve our problem? The answer is no.
No.
If you have the only this firewall and you have the 20 user, it is not going to solve a problem. Now someone can tell me what is the challenge is going to be happen? What is
Where
Connectivity
the
of
user
the
become
LAN.
connectivity, because there is port only port 2 and 4
Yes.
port.
So the problem is you require 20 computers, right? Right?
Yes.
Let's suppose these are 20 computers are going to require. So let's suppose this is my last computer 20. And this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. So every computer require a port. So one is going to connect here, 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 like this one. So how many port we have? 4, 4, 8, 12. Only 12 port we have. But requirement is 20. So the struggle is not. Sorry, go. Yes.
But some port used for fiber, not all the port.
Hey, I'm just taking an example. Let's suppose you have to connect all switch, then you can maximum connect the 12 devices, not more than that.
Yeah.
Just take an hypothetical examples. Yes, Gaurav, you want to ask something?
Yeah. So can we just add with the APs some
Yeah, so
API?
that is definitely solution is there. But the question was if we have the three device you need to purchase switch, router, and the firewall, that your problem is not going to be solved. You have to must be do some alternate, right?
Correct.
So now can I do the routing requirement with the help of the firewall? Let's suppose switch is not there. Means there is only we required 10 user or might be the 8 user. Can this firewall exactly work as a router? Exactly same as a router? Anyone can guess? Okay, switch we understand. Let's suppose now 10 users or 8 users. Now we can connect the 8 users. There is no problem with the fiber and copper. Still we have the 4. So switch requirement is gone. Can I use this firewall as a router as well?
Yeah, you can use.
Yes. So this firewall can exactly do all work what router can do that. And what is the capability we have in this firewall? This firewall can understand the static routing. This firewall can understand the dynamic routing, especially for the Palo Alto and FortiGate. In dynamic, you can run the OSPF, you can run the BGP, right? You can run the RIP. I will show you all the things. And even you can run the multicast. And even you want to do the QS configuration, this all is going to be available. So these firewalls can exactly work as a router. So if you thinking my office is small and I want to do the routing and firewall feature with a single device, your decision is 100% correct. But what problem is going to happen if this firewall is going to be purely used as a router? Anyone have any logic? Means why generally we not use the firewall as a router? Anyone can think about it? Why generally we not use firewall as a router in all scenario? Most of scenario you're going to find, but generally we avoid to use this router firewall as a router.
Maybe depend on
Due to
on
load
cost.
balance,
Due to
the load balancing, like all the things one hardware has to do, the routing as well as filtering the packets.
I think all the job done is firewall, but maybe more affected the amount. If we need only load balancing, why we spend money for purchasing the router Palo Alto Firewall?
okay.
VLANs are being created in the firewall, sir?
Yes, we can create the VLANs in the firewall.
Yes.
We can create the SPI, we can create the layer 2. I will do in the labs. Jesler, you also trying to say something. I notice you raise your hand. You want to say something?
Yeah, I was raised hand for these MPLS label packets are passed through the.
Very nice example. So generally, these firewalls do not support the MPLS. So if you want to bring the MPLS connectivity, that's going to create a problem. Means LDP and all is not going to be supported. That's one reason. That's absolutely right. Very important, guys. Anyone know how many routes available on the internet? Any idea? How many routes available on the internet routing table?
I think more than lakhs.
More than 10 lakhs. Okay. This is the recent data. More than 10 lakhs. You have the routing. So generally, if you see ISP routers, when you use ISP router, they are the very big routers. They have the very high capabilities. So whenever you use the ISP router, they entirely exchange the routing table from the ISP to your devices. So firewalls, if you load that much 10 lakh plus route, so when they are doing the processing, probably it is going to be very insufficient. It's going to be problematic because the hardware is not that much capable unless or until you have the very big firewalls. You just really want to use as a very high processing, but lower firewall doesn't support that much of the routing. So you have used a solution. You can use the default route that is going to solve your problem. You don't have to download that kind of the routing table, but the main problem, router is designed to do the routing at a speed, as a efficient manner, as a scalable manner, to run the multiple protocol, static routing, dynamic routing, MPLS, BGP, MPBGP, RD, RT, VRF. Probably you cannot do all things here. You can do the routings, but at a scale, as a very next level thing, if you have to handle the high routings, you have to do the high level of the connectivity, that also going to be matter. Most important, the firewall is always going to be at somebody. Raghav mentioned a very good point, cost. If you're going to purchase the firewall, this cost is going to be very higher. Means if you want to purchase a firewall who can do the routing plus switching plus firewall thing, the cost is going to very high, very high. At a similar level, if you're going to purchase a router and switch, probably you can get the hardware with the lower cost, and you also get the firewall with the lower cost. But if you're thinking my firewall can do every work as a rocket, kind of the stuff, then you have to pay a lot. So that also going to be create a problem. Now, firewall primary resource are always going to required to do the firewall stuff. What is the firewall stuff? That is the packet processing. This is the main requirement. This required to packet processing. But if you are going to use a router, then they also have to do the routing processing. Because OSPF you are going to build, you're going to run the BGP, RIP, they have a lot of packets. They are going to exchange the hello packet, subject packet, neighbor detail. So that somehow it is going to degrade your performance. So it's not recommended always you have to use the router. But means firewall as a router switch and your firewall stuff. If you have the very small organization, might be 100 users, 200 users, or 500 users, probably you can think about, you can buy the mid-level of the firewalls and you can use that everything for the routing and the firewall thing. But for switch point of view, you have the two solution. Might be you have to purchase the switch who have the 48 ports or might be the 96 port. If you have the more than 100 user, probably you have to purchase another switch that have the 98, 96 port. And then you have to connect this in this way. Or might be you connect the trunk here and then you connect the switch from here and then you can extend the cables toward the users who are basically going to be part of your LAN network. Another way, if you want to make the wireless setup, so you have to use a WLC. WLC is going to connect with the port, and from that WLC, probably you are just going to be propagate control connections, data connection toward the AP, but AP also require the like physical connectivity. So if you have the limited AP 2, 3, 4, you can connect directly from these ports and you can make the communication wireless communication. But the recommendation you use the one switch and connect all AP from here, and WLC also connect from here. So that's going to solve your wireless problem. So these firewalls can be used in the multiple way, but it's depend use to use which situation you want to use that. Now coming back to the original topic. If this brand new firewall you purchase and you have to do the configuration, what you'll do that? What is the first thing you'll do that? Anyone can guess? What is the first thing you can do that? This is a new firewall.
Power supply.
Take a management console first.
Someone said power supply. That's the correct
Power
answer.
supply is already common, but we need a
Okay, that's fine. So we have to connect this firewall with the PSU, right? So power is going to be required. If there is no power, you cannot do anything. So the very first step, you have to install this firewall in the rack, or even not in rack, you just keep in your desk and connect the power. That is the step one. Once you run the power supply, then what the next step, guys? You turn on the power. Let's suppose you on the power. Then what the next step?
Console access.
Next,
Yes.
next there is two step. You can access through console. You can access through GUI.
Okay, that's both correct. So if we have the console, let's suppose you have the one PC. This is my PC. I require the console cable who connect with the PC. This is my PC and I require the console cable. This console cable is designed in such way, RJ45 to USB converter, serial converter. You connect this and you connect this. On this PC, you have to open up Putty software and here you have to select the serial. Once you select the serial, it is going to automatically pop up your all black screen and it is going to show you what is happening on my firewall, right? I will show you how it is going to be happen, definitely, how the console is going to be taken. I will show because we have the firewall physically. So I will show on the camera one day, but we'll do later. Don't worry. So putty is going to be there and that's going to be given. Now you can play around with the firewall. आपको जो भी करना है, you can do that. There is no problem. What next? This will only allow your CLI connectivity. Means you have to make changes by the CLI. But Palo Alto recommend to do everything from the GUI, not CLI. CLI, remembering command is very difficult. If you want to remember the command from the CLI, it's almost impossible. I can show you the command line. There are a lot of commands. So it's very difficult to do the like command, keep in our memory. So GUI is very important. Now, if you have to take the GUIX of the firewall, then how it is going to happen? Probably I need another PC or same PC I need to disconnect from the console cable. I can connect another PC. Let's suppose I have another PC or laptop. So I can connect this cable here. And after that, I will connect from the NIC card. This is my NIC card. And it is going to connect on the management port. This is my NIC card. This is my RJ45 cable. And this is going to connect on the management port. This management port by default IP is going to be 192.168.1.1. This is the by default IP address. And from NIC card, from laptop point of view, also you have to give the similar IP. So let's suppose you give the 168.1.2/24. So now they are going to ping each other, and after ping, you just go and do the HTTPS. It is going to work. So this is the day zero configuration. Means you have the very brand new firewall, and you're just going to do something, and you want to play around it. You just want to explore how this firewall is going to be look like. So there is two method only available. One is my physical that connect the cables, and another physical that's the console, and I can take the access. So same thing we did, I believe, last time also, but just recap because I know might be you guys have missed that. So here is my firewall, right? And then I'll simply jump to the next topic after that. Here is my firewall, and this firewall you can see I have the management port. Why I'm putting a lot of effort here? Because the fundamental I want to be very much clear to everyone. That's why I'm recapping this everything. Because when you go for the productions, you're going to explore the firewalls, you're going to do a lot of mistakes. Last time I was trying to show a DSCP, but somehow the DSCP was misconfigured. So I will show correctly today. So you guys are going to get correct understanding. So this is my PC. Now this is not a physical firewall. This is my virtual firewall. So in virtual firewall, by default management interface doesn't have the IP address. Do not have the IP address in virtual firewall, but physical आप खरीदते हो, it is going to be there. Clear? Makes sense? And if I want to take the console of this firewall, it's going to be virtual console. That's not a physical console. So how the console is going to be there? You have to click on it. You have to click on it. Let me refresh this page. You have to click on it and see it is going to be black screen. You just enter and you have to put username, and let me put the password also. So the password is also going to be there. Now I'm in the firewall, just wait. And now I'll go in this PC as well. This PC password is going to be 123, and I'll just open this PC.
So was this a new firewall?
Yes, it's a new firewall. It's a brand new firewall. Nothing configuration is there. But
What
we are
will be
doing
the default password?
First class or second, third?
We did the same thing in the previous session. So you can consider as a day one because we still not started the module. Okay. The module is going to be start from here. Okay. Single pass architecture. But before module, we are trying to understand the basic concept of the firewall. Make sense?
What will be the default password? Don't we need to set the new password?
Yes. So if you are taking the brand new firewall, so this brand new firewall have the default username and password. That is going to be admin and admin. Okay. So in this firewall, which I'm using right now, there is a hard-coded password because it's in the lab infrastructure. But I will show you with a different firewall where you have to set the firewall. Or probably let me open that firewall also. Let me open another firewall where I'll show you how to set the very initial password. So let me open this so I can show you. This is a latest firewall. So it's a hard coded by the system, but I will show you how this password is going to be set up. Let's boot up. So now I'm in the firewall. You can see, and if I just try to run the command, so system interface. So system info, not interface. You can see this management interface doesn't have any IP address. This is my management interface. This is my IP address. That's the unknown. Net mask is unknown. IP assignment, this firewall by default trying to get IP address from the DSCP. This firewall is trying to get IP address from DSCP. So if it's a physical firewall, then what is going to happen? If it is your physical firewall, this IP address is going to be hard coded as a 192.168.1.1. This is going to be your static. This is going to be 255.255.0. If your new firewall is there, that is the physical firewall. But in the virtual firewall, this is not going to be there. You have to set manually. So we are in the lab, we are in the virtual firewall. So I have to do setup in the manually. So how I can assign the IP address on this firewall? Virtually, Right now, this console is look like a virtual console because we cannot connect the console cable from the virtual firewall. So this is known as a virtual console. So if I want to do that, very first thing I have to do, I have to go here and I have to type a command configure. After configure, I have to type a command set device config system IP address. And what IP address I want to give? I want to give 192.168.1.1. So I will give 192.168.1.1 and I'll give the net mask 255.255.255.0. And then after I will commit. Any changes you are making in the Palo Alto Firewall, the change is not going to apply by default. Likewise in the Cisco router, Cisco switches, once we do the changes, it is by default it is going to apply. Let's suppose you have the Cisco router and you're going to make any changes. It is going to immediately apply on the running configuration. You don't have to do anything. I hope you guys are agree with me. If anyone disagree, please let me know. But you have the Juniper router, even you are making the changes, that changes are not going to apply by default. You have to do the commit. Similar in SD-WAN, Cisco SD-WAN, you have to do that. And Palo Alto, you also have to do the commit. Commit means you are agree to apply the changes on the running configuration. Again, I'm repeating, commit means you agree to apply the configuration in the running configuration. But in Cisco, the moment you put the configuration, that's going directly in the running configuration. If you save the configuration, then it is going to be put in the startup configuration. And someone is going to ask, what is the difference between startup and running configuration? Can someone tell me? If you're coming from Cisco background, and the question is going to be asked, what is different between a startup configuration, running configuration? Anyone?
Startup when you boot the device, so the configuration after booting, that's the startup configuration. And if you change the configuration while the firewall, the switch or the router is running, so that will be the running configuration. It will be not saved
Yes,
until you
that's
save
correct.
it yourself.
100% correct. So guys, the startup configuration or those configuration, whenever your device is going to be boot, that configuration is going to give the configuration as a load configuration. Running configuration in Cisco especially, any unsaved configuration is going to be also part of the running configuration. Any unsaved. Let's suppose I'm in the Cisco router, right? And here I'll go in the configuration, right? And I'll just put the host name as I'll put as a GUINET router. Now you see my configuration has been applied, but I'm not going to save this configuration. I just end it here. Now my change has been reflected. And if I just say here, show run configuration, you see my host name has been applied here. That's my running configuration. But if I run a command, show running startup configuration, sorry, what's the command?
Show startup configuration.
Yeah, so startup config, you will see there is no config present here. Why? Because if you have the default configuration, it is going to be there. But the moment I will write this configuration, now you will see if I run this command, see the configuration has been there. So anything you're going to write in the router memory, that's become your startup configuration. If that is not right in the configuration, that's not your start. That's running configuration. By default configuration available in the router. But in Palo Alto, if I have done this configuration, it is not going to apply in their configuration. It's known as the candidate configuration. What is known as this is the uncommit configuration that is known as the candidate config. In Palo Alto world, this is known as the candidate config. That means unsaved configuration, uncommitted configuration. Saved is not correct word, uncommitted configuration. So I have to make as a startup configuration, running configuration. So I have to go and put the commit. So you have to wait for some time and then this commit is going to be applied and this configuration is going to show on the interface, but it is still not going to show on the interface because there is one problem. So let's see what is problem there and how we can fix that problem.
So you can write commit at any level, or you have to come back like Cisco to save it.
I didn't get your question, Jishan.
So So normally you on Cisco Catalyst switches, you have to go back all the way back to save the configuration. You cannot, if you are in the configuration mode, then you need to write do
Right,
the save the configuration.
right.
So here
We
you
can
can write commit at any
directly
level.
go commit in the configuration mode itself. You don't have to go anywhere, and commit is always going to happen in the configuration mode only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So just wait for a while. So almost we 98% done. It takes generally 3 to 4 minute time to commit. Sometimes it's faster. Average time is 2 to 3 minutes, but sometimes even take longer time to commit. This commit is required from GUI and CLI both. Means if you are in the CLI commit, you want to do that, you can do that. Even you want to do GUI, it is also possible, you can do that. So let's wait. It's completed 98%, but still waiting for 2 more percent to complete. Now it's done. So now if it is done, if I'll exit from here and I'll try to see whether my IP is assigned or not on my management interface. So system info, you see still I assign the IP address, but there is no IP address. There's no subnet mask. That's the problem. And why it's happened? Because your management interface is saying, I will keep get IP address from the DHCP server. I will not take IP address from the static. So the configuration I have done, that is a static assignment, but mode of the interface is DHCP. So it is not going to take IP address unless or until you change this mode as a static. So you have to change this mode as a static. The moment you change this mode as a static, the previous configuration is going to apply on the interface. Let me show you how it is going to happen. So I'll go in the again configuration, and here I'll go in the configuration again, and I'll put a command set device config system type, and this time you can see we have the option DHCP client static. So I will use this static. Right now it's a DHCP client. I'll put it here, and now again I have to commit, and then you will see the previous command, it is going to apply on the management interface. So very first time if you have the firewall, you have to make sure if there is no IP address, you have to make sure your mode of the management port should be static if you are going to assign the manual IP address. If it is a DHCP, then it will take automatically from the DHCP server. I'll show you how it is going to happen that also. When we have a DHCP, then how it is going to take from the DHCP as well. So just wait for a while and let's commit complete. So it's done 55%. Let's wait.
So your management IP will be on system. It will not be under any interface.
It's an interface. There is a dedicated interface, that is a management interface. This is the interface. You can see
Yep.
in this firewall, we have dedicated interface. That's the management interface. You can see here.
Yes, but in the command, if you write only system IP address, then it
This
will
is the
automatically take.
syntax. This is the syntax. How to
Yeah.
configure the management interface. This is the only method. If you go in the GUI, probably you'll get the interface also. I will show you. Okay. And you can
Okay.
change the interface level configuration also. I will show you after this. So 98% done. Let's wait for few seconds more. And then it's going to be 100%. Then we'll proceed. So now it's done. Now you see here, exit. And now you run the command so system info. And see here, IP has been assigned. The most important, IP has been assigned now. This is my IP address. This is my subnet mask, and this is my static IP assignment. So now we are good, right? So the job was to assign the IP address to the management interface. Another way you can check that, another command, so interface management. If you run this command, this is the management interface. You can see this interface have this IP address. But if you not change that particular DSA to static, this is also not going to show you. So you don't think कि मैंने दिखाया नहीं, right? So this only going to come in effect once you change from DSA to static. Okay, so you have to take this note. But this is the interface. Now what next? I want to access this firewall from GUI. This is the console. I make some changes. So I will go in my PC. I will go and let me do some good resolutions. I'll go in my PC. After going in PC, I will go on this interface and I will assign the IP address. This is my PC, so I will just assign the same subnet IP address 192.168.1.2. And there's no gateway required because they're going to stay in the same broadcast domain. And if I go here, CMD again, and I'll just check the IP config. This is going to be this IP, and you just try to ping 192.168.1.1, and it is pinging. So now we are good. And if I go here, and I will just 192.168.1.1 because I need to log in this firewall. So you have to go in the browser and you have to type this HTTPS : and you have to put your IP address. Then you have to put here enter. And you see your firewall is going to be logged in. So just ignore this warning. There is no problem. And you can see this is my Palo Alto Firewall. That is the 10.0 version. And you have to put username and you have to put password. And this firewall is going to be logged in.
पंकज सर,
Yes, Gaurav.
यस, सो जैसे लाइक सिस्को स्विच में क्या होता है, अगर आईपी एचटीटीपी आपका कॉन्फ़िगर नहीं है सिस्को स्विचेस में 9300 में, तो आपका वो ग्राफिकल इंटरफेस के थ्रू हम एक्सेस नहीं करते हैं, तो यहाँ पे ऑटोमेटिकली इनेबल्ड रहता है पहले से कि
Yes,
करना पड़ता है?
I'm going to show you. That's a good question. So by default, that was my next explanations. What services are allowed in the management interface? So I'm going to explain. Just wait for a while. Let this firewall. So whenever you configure the management interface, on this management interface, 3 services by default allowed. What is 3 services? You can ping this interface by default. You can log in from the GUI, that is HTTPS only. No HTTP. Unless or until you explicitly going to be allowed. And the third is going to be SSH. No telnet. Okay, so only these 3 services are by default allowed on the management interface. And if there is another interface on the firewall, let's suppose this is my ETS 0/0. By default, all services are blocked. Very important. If you have another interface, let's suppose E0/1, every service is by default going to be blocked. If you want to allow, you have to do some sort of the configuration. So I hope my firewall is going to be login. Let me see. Yes. Now, if I want to see the management interface, so how I can see the management interface? If I'm going in the network, that network basically show the interface detail. But if I'm going to log in my network section, this network doesn't have any kind of the management interface. Just wait for a while. It's syncing. See, there are a lot of interface available. We have the Ethernet interface, Ethernet 1x1, 2, lot of interface available. You can see, but we do not have any management interface. We have the VLAN interface, loopback interface, tunnel interface, SD-WAN interface, but don't have any management interface. Where I can find it? I'm in the network section. Means I can do routing here. I can do switching here. You can see the VLANs are here. Virtual routers are here. You can create the IPsec tunnel. But where is the management interface? Management interface is not going to part of your network. It's going to part of your device. Because you managing the device. So they have the dedicated interface on the device. and this is your interface. There's a management, you don't go here. There is an interface. This interface, which is just going to come up in front of you, that is actually your management interface. And in this interface, you are going to see the IP I assigned, that is going to be reflected. So if I click on it, you will see the IP is going to be 192.168.1.1 here. And by default, three services are enabled: the ping, HTTP, and HTTPS. So if you want to change anything from this particular firewall, you can do. Let's suppose you want to make the new IP changes. You want to give the 100. So you can give that. You want to give the default gateway, anything, you can give that also. In case it is not required, but you want to give, you can give that. Now, by default, this is my HTTP services and HTTPS services, SSH service, ping. This is the by default enable. If you want to enable telnet, HTTP, and SNMP user ID, you can enable that also. But this is the by default. Rest other interfaces, by default, these all services are going to be disabled. Make sense, Sandeep? Gaurav श्रीवास्तव जी।
सर एक चीज और पूछना था मुझे इसमें, जैसे कि जैसे सिंपल सा स्विच का आईपी एड्रेस है, मान लीजिए 192.168.1.1, तो मैंने उसको एक्सेस किया तो वो GUI से नहीं हो रहा है, CLI से हो रहा है, ठीक है, मतलब मैं सिक्योर सेल ले रहा हूं तो हो रहा है, बट ग्राफिकल इंटरफेस से नहीं हो रहा है। लेकिन अगर किसी पालो अल्टो को रिमोटली हम एक्सेस कर रहे हैं, टेलनेट कर रहे हैं, तो वो एक्सेस हो रहा है। ग्राफिकल में फिर इनेबल करना पड़ेगा यहाँ पे आके।
I didn't get your questions. Let's suppose
I am saying to you, like, if I am taking a CLI of this Palo Alto, that's it's telnet is working. Telnet are secure cell, okay?
Okay.
But I need to be upgrade this firewall via the graphical interface. But
Which method? HTTP?
HTTPS, yes.
Okay, so it's not working, right?
Yeah, it's not working. What can we do it? If
Okay,
I
so
am
now you
working
tell
from
me what
remotely from the
IP,
US
what
Palo,
IP,
yeah,
hold on. What IP you accessing?
just suppose the Palo Alto firewall IP is the 192.
No. What IP means the IP you accessing that belong on the management interface or
WAN
some
interface. WAN interface.
WAN interface. So your WAN interface must have these HTTPS services enabled. If it is not enabled, you cannot access.
Okay, that means once I will take some location, US location, Palo Alto firewall access through the graphical, then it should be enabled via the HTTPS, correct?
Definitely. And how you can,
Okay.
let's suppose this is my one of the network. Take an example. This is my PC. I connect on this, my Ethernet one. This is my WAN interface. Okay. And let's connect one more node here. I'll just simulate your requirement. So I will go here. By the way, it's a good question. So I'll just connect this PC. So let's suppose this is my internet PC. Okay.
Yes, just suppose it between the cloud and this PC
Yeah.
is some router.
So now
and
you have to, let's suppose I just go and assign the IP address of this interface. Take an example. So I will go and assign the IP address. What IP assign I? The problem is there is one problem. Hold on. It's going to be create a loop for my network. Let's connect this PC directly to here. Okay. Just think in between we have the cloud. Make sense?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now let me do one thing. I'll make life easy. I'll take one of the layer 2 switch. I will make as a internet cloud for the better representations. Cloud. Okay, so now it looks good. So you think this is your PC connected here, and this is my firewall which is connected here. Now you want to access. Okay.
Yeah.
Take an example. On this firewall, we have the IP. Let's suppose 113.10.10.1/20/30. Okay. Here you assign this PC as a 13.10.10.2/30. Take an example. Okay. Now you have to access. So if I go on the Palo Alto firewall, I go in the network, and if I go on the network, I need to go on the interface. That is WAN interface, ETH 1 by 1. So I will go here and I will explain how it is going to be configured, what is different modes. So this interface is going to be layer 3 mode, and there is a virtual router is going to be required. You guys don't know what is a virtual router. There is zone going to be required, but you guys don't know what is a zone. So I will explain everything. Let's suppose it's a WAN zone, okay?
Sure, sir.
So I will explain everything, but I just want to cover this question, and I'll go and assign the IP address. So the IP address 13.10.10.1/30. That's all. And I'll click OK. And I will, let's suppose I commit it. So I can commit from here. Yeah, from GUI, you can go here and commit from here. There is a commit button. So commit is in progress. Now I'll go on this particular PC. This is my PC. I will go and assign the same range of the IP address. Because this is my layer 2 switch. So this is just going to act as a transparent. There's no configuration required. So all port is going to stay in the same VLAN. So we don't have to do any configuration on this particular cloud. It's just pure layer 2 switch. Just for the representation, I connected it. Okay. Show VLAN brief. You do that. All port are going to be same VLAN default one. So I will go in the window PC and I will just assign the IP address. After assigning the IP address, I'll go in the change address settings. And I'll go in the properties. And I'll assign the IP address. Let 13.10.10.2. And I'll give the subnet mask to 55 to 55.0. Okay. Okay. And that's all. Now I'll go in the CMD. Okay. Technically, my PC should able to ping my firewall, but even it cannot ping the firewall. If I just go here 13.10.10.1, it's not going to ping. It's not working. It doesn't mean PC doesn't have reachability to the firewall. It have. This PC is sending packet to the Palo Alto Firewall interface, but WAN interface is denying the packet because that interface doesn't have the capability to understand the ICMP or allow the ICMP. Even if I go in the browser of this particular PC and I'll try to log in, it is not going to work. Even I go in this particular PC and I try to do via the putty session, it is not going to work. If I just try to do the telnet or SSH. But if I want to allow all three things together, then I have to do certain things. Let me show you. 10.10.1 and I try to SSH, it is not going to work because even SSH services is not working. If I go in the browser and type HTTPS and 13.10.10.1, it is also not working. So how I can enable this? So you just have to go on this particular firewall. Your interface is configured, it's green, but by default, there is no management profile. So management profile is a process. It is going to allow what services you want to allow. So you can create the management profile from this here. There is a one section you can create the management profile by interface management. This is the one sections, or you can directly create from the interface as well. So I will explain later on both method, but let me try to do directly from the interface. So if I want to apply the management on the interface, so I will go in the advanced services, and here we have the management profile. You can see here in this management profile we have the none. There are some by default ping, allowing ping we have, but I want to allow my own management services. Let's suppose mgmt. In this I want to allow HTTPS, I want to allow SSH, I want to allow ping. Three services I want. In your case, Gaurav, probably ping was allowed, HTTPS was ping was allowed, SSH was allowed, but HTTPS was not allowed. So you have to make sure on the WAN interface you allow this, and after that you can okay. And this is giving the warning. It is saying that attaching the interface management profile on the interface, you are potentially exposing this firewall administrative interface to any party that can reach to this interface. So this is a security warning. That's the best practice. You should not expose your WAN interface for any management services. It's highly recommended. But we are in the lab, so we can do that. Nobody's going to ask question to us. So I can commit. After commit, we'll see what is going to happen.
सर जब तक ये कमिट हो रहा है, मेरा क्वेश्चन था, जैसे मैं यहाँ पे बैठा हुआ, मैं AT&T प्रोजेक्ट में काम कर रहा हूँ और मुझे पालो अल्टो फायरवॉल को यहाँ से एक्सेस करना है। मैं एक थर्ड पार्टी कंपनी से AT&T को सपोर्ट कर रहा हूँ, तो पालो अल्टो को जब भी मैं यहाँ से सिक्योर सेल या HTTPS करूंगा तो ये अलाउ करना ही पड़ेगा, करेक्ट?
करना ही पड़ेगा, definitely. You have to make, you have to allow.
Okay.
If you're not going to allow these services, you cannot access. There is no other method we have to access.
There is no
Unless your management IP is going to be reachable. If your management IP is going to be advertised in WAN infrastructure and that's reachable from there, then you can do that. Agar management interface pe you allow the services, then it is possible. There is no issue. You can do that. So let's wait. Meanwhile, any other questions anyone have? Meanwhile, we are waiting for commit. If you have, please ask. After that, I will show you if we have the brand new firewall, then how to set up the password as well. Because that also I need to cover.
सर ये आपने जो चेंजेस किया है वो GUI के थ्रू किया है।
Right.
शायद मेरे ख्याल से सर का क्वेश्चन था कि उनको जो एक्सेस मिल रहा है वो सिर्फ टेलनेट के थ्रू मिल रहा है, मतलब CLI मोड पे मिल रहा है। तो वो CLI से अगर मुझे ये कॉन्फ़िगर करना है तो ये पॉसिबल है क्या, मतलब किसी
Yes,
इंटरफेस?
he can do that. Even from the CLI also he can do that.
ओके।
CLI also it's possible. So अगर Gaurav have the requirement कि मुझे CLI से access है and I can allow this management interface, that is also possible. I'll show you. Very easy to do that. Okay. So abhi you see here I'm in the window PC, and if I try now again, let's try with the ping. See, your ping start working. Earlier it was not, but once commit done, you can see now my PC start pinging. If I just refresh the browser again, probably I will access the GeoX of the firewall also. So just wait, see, now my firewall start opening. So now I'm in the GeoX of the firewall as well. I can simply proceed and I have the firewall. So I can just log into the firewall. You can see now if I go here and try to again reactivate this session, restart that, I will get the SSH access as well. See, it is asking, and if I just log in, admin, and I'll give the password, it is also going to work. So all depend what services you want to allow. If your services are allowed, it is going to perfectly work fine. Now, if no question, I will take this firewall, this is the brand new firewall. And if I want to do some sort of the, let me stop these all devices. It's not required now because our job has been done. I hope there is no further questions we have. Now, let's suppose we have the very brand new firewall, right? And you have to do very first time setup. So how basically it is going to look like? So this is my brand new firewall. There is no previous configuration, no hard-coded password. It's a physical firewall or virtual firewall. So very first time you have to give the username as admin, and you have to give password as an admin. That's a default. And after that, you have to enter your old password and you have to change your new password. And this is how you can enter in the Palo Alto Firewall. Now you will check it here. So system info, there is no configuration available. So this is how you can do that. So I hope this lab is clear to everyone and you guys can do that. If any question, please let me know. If all good, I can move to the new discussion. Give me your consent so we can proceed. All good, guys?
यस सर, बस लास्ट में आप एक चीज बताइएगा, TPM चिप का रोल क्या होता है? जैसे ACI में मैंने किया था तो कुछ अलग रोल था, मैं भूल रहा भी हूँ, तो जब टाइम मिलेगा तब करिएगा सर TPM चिप।
मैं बता देता हूँ, TPM is tamper proof module, right? It's something where we store very sensitive information. जैसे हम उसके अंदर सर्टिफिकेट इंस्टॉल करते हैं, that is if someone is going to break or manipulate, that is going to be destroyed. One-time use means if someone is going to do any kind of manipulation of the TPM chip, that is going to destroy. That's all. Very confidential information.
Okay.
Okay, so if no this lab question, let's move to something else.
सर हार्डवेयर फायरवॉल को भी एडमिन एडमिन इनिशियली जब नया रहता है तो एडमिन यूजर और एडमिन पासवर्ड ही रखना पड़ता है क्या?
Yes, देखो
मतलब
अभी
डालना पड़ता है?
yes. So Palo Alto initial configuration में दिखाता हूँ. Initial configuration. If you go here, perform initial configuration, any firewall, especially in the hardware. So you are going to get firewall IP is 192.168.1.1. This is the by default what I discussed. Okay. You have this IP is going to assign on the management interface, and whenever you're going to set up that, you have to put username and password by default as the admin. देख रहे हो आप यहाँ पे? So this is the by default is going to be there. You don't have to think much about it. But after first login, you have to change this password. You must have to change this password. Clear? So I'm
Yes,
sharing
sir.
this document as well, so you guys can refer it. So I'm sharing in the chat. You guys can just have a look. Okay, so I wanted to cover one more topic, but I believe already 10:30. Okay, so if any question, please ask, because if I explain the another topic, it's going to take 30 to 45 minutes, so it's going to be too late. I wanted to really cover one more topic, but I believe already we completed 55, 6 minutes, almost 1 hour. So I'll take the questions. Anything, if you have mind, any doubt, any other
Sir,
process.
in this course, upgradation is included of the Palo Alto Firewall.
Yes, we'll see how to upgrade the
So also we are doing the validation script for the Palo Alto Firewall.
means validation script. I didn't
Like,
get you.
before upgrading in the production hour any firewall, we need the validation script. Is there any misconfiguration after upgradation? Some
So
like
whenever you do any configuration on the Palo Alto firewalls, right? I stop the firewall, but I will show you tomorrow, not tomorrow class, day after tomorrow class.
yes.
The command validate commit. So this command is going to validate whether the configuration you are trying to push in the firewall, it's correct or incorrect. If it is going to be correct, then it is going to validate successful. If it is incorrect, it is going to throw an error. This is how you do the validation in the Palo Alto firewall before you apply the configuration.
नहीं सर, मैं ये नहीं पूछ रहा. जैसे मान ली प्रोडक्शन आवर में जैसे डीसी में लगा हुआ है पालो अल्टो या कहीं साइट पे लगा है, अब मैं पालो अल्टो को अपग्रेड कर रहा हूँ, तो अपग्रेड करने में एक चेंज रिक्वेस्ट रेज होता है 2 आवर्स 3 आवर्स का, जिसमें हमने एक पालो अल्टो के टैग टीम से कांटेक्ट किया, उसने वैलिडेशन स्क्रिप्ट दिया कि जब अपग्रेड करेंगे तो कोई भी अनरीचेबिलिटी नहीं आएगी पालो अल्टो में, और कोई भी ऐसा इंटरफेस डाउन नहीं होगा या बीजीपी नहीं डाउन होगा या ओएसपीएफ नहीं डाउन होगा. तो इसका कोई वैलिडेशन स्क्रिप्ट चलता है टैग टीम से जो
नहीं actually होता क्या है, let me explain. So okay, I got it. You're talking about the iOS means PAN OS upgradation,
अपग्रेड
right?
करेक्ट.
Okay.
हाँ, मींस
So PAN OS upgradation process is going to happen. Let's suppose your firewall is running on 9.0.9. Take an example, okay? And you have to upgrade 11.0.3. So in between, we have the multiple OS version, 9.1.0. We have the
स्टेप
10.0.
अप. करेक्ट.
And that we have the 10.1.0. Then you have to go in the 11. So you cannot jump from here to here. So very first thing, you have to follow the guideline. We have the preferred version. I'll explain how it is going to happen in iOS upgradation process. We have to find the right version, means which version after this I need to go. So probably you have to go in the base version. Probably after 9.0.9, you have to go 9.1.0. After that, probably you have to download and install the preferred version. You have to check official documentation of the Palo Alto.
सर ये तो मुझे पता है, स्टेप अप हम अपग्रेड करेंगे, लेकिन जैसे मान लीजिए प्रोडक्शन आवर में मेरा पालो अल्टो लगा हुआ है और मैं अपग्रेड कर रहा हूँ, अनरीचेबल हो गया ड्यू टू सम लाइक
How it is if you're doing the right way with the right
हाँ हाँ
PAN OS.
हाँ हाँ.
तो PAN OS में क्या
तो
होता है
मैंने
कि
एक
PAN
टाइम
OS is only
हुआ है
have the kind of the risk. PAN OS, हर PAN OS is not going to be stable. You have to find the right PAN OS which is very stable. So टैग
Okay.
वाले बंदे आपको बता देते हैं, और माइट बी यू आर गोइंग टू फॉलो द राइट स्टेप्स जो उनके ऑफिशियल डॉक्यूमेंटेशन होते हैं. आई विल शो यू क्या
हाँ
होता
हाँ
है. दे आर गोइंग टू सिक्वेंसली अपडेट यू कि विच वर्जन यू हैव टू अपग्रेड एंड व्हाट इज द प्रोसेस. कई लोग क्या करते हैं कि थोड़ी सी गलती कर देते हैं, दे नॉट फॉलो द राइट स्टेप एंड दे मेक द
हाँ।
आउटेज. या
सर हुआ क्या था, मैं अभी एसीआई में अपग्रेड कर रहा था एसीआई को, और
हम्म
वहां पे मैंने वैलिडेशन स्क्रिप्ट चलाया ही नहीं था। जहां मैं जिस ओएस को अपग्रेड कर रहा था, वहां पे एसीआई का एपिक कंट्रोलर ही अनरीचेबल हो गया था। तो एक एस्केलेशन आई थी, बहुत पहले की बात है। तो
हम्म
फिर उसने, मेरे मैनेजर ने पूछा तूने वैलिडेशन स्क्रिप्ट चलाया था कि नहीं, टैग टीम से करवाया था कि नहीं। बाद में मैंने वैलिडेशन स्क्रिप्ट जब उससे करवाया तो उसमें कई चीजें आई कि ये फेल होगा, ये स्टेप फेल होगा, ये स्टेप फेल होगा। मतलब पूरा एक एसीआई का प्रोसेस होता है वैलिडेशन स्क्रिप्ट का। तो यहाँ भी कुछ ऐसा है
नहीं
क्या?
नहीं यार, ACI is totally different thing. Palo Alto, you just have to follow the right OS.
अच्छा, ठीक
Path.
है।
There is no validation script. You just have to follow the right OS, right path. अगर वो आप फॉलो कर रहे हो तो इट इज गोइंग टू बी 100%. टैग खुद ही बताता है कौन सा OS आपको डालना है और
हाँ
कौन
हाँ।
सा OS आपको नहीं डालना है. If you are
अच्छा,
choosing the wrong OS, wrong path, then there might be your router is going to be, firewall is going to be crash. और
मतलब
इसका
एसीआई का
इसका भी एक
डिफरेंस
बेस्ट ऑप्शन
आपने
ही होता
बोला।
है whenever you do the OS upgradations, right? इसका बेस्ड हम करेंगे, सीखेंगे how it is going to happen. The best part is going to happen whenever you're going to upgrade anything. We have the HA devices, okay? So always you go and do the, there is one firewall is going to active, one is going to passive. So
अरे,
आपको पहले करना है अपग्रेड पैन ओएस को पैसिव पे, विच इज नॉट गोइंग टू इम्पैक्ट एनी इशू. मीन्स अगर ये डाउन भी चला गया तो प्रोडक्शन आपका डाउन नहीं जाएगा. So always the best practice to complete the OS upgradation process on the passive. Once it's done successful, then you shift the traffic from active to passive and make it passive and then do the upgradation. So you have the zero downtime. There is no risk at all. मैं आगे बताऊं कैसे होता है. ठीक है
सो
गौरव?
ओके ओके ओके।
All right. Any other question? Gangaram Chaudhary, you have any question, buddy? You want to ask kuch?
Yeah, sir. Actually, I have a question. Sir, just I want to know what is the difference between hardware and software firewall? Because अगर हार्डवेयर में अगर मैंने फोर्टीगेट का मैं थोड़ा बहुत मैंने फोर्टीगेट का यूज किया हुआ है। तो फोर्टीगेट में जैसे 80F या 90F या 90 100 कुछ ऐसे सीरीज है। अगर तो ये हार्डवेयर हो गया, और सॉफ्टवेयर में वैसे क्या हो गया, मतलब अगर कोई कंपनी से उसको फायरवॉल इंस्टॉल करवाना है, दिन सॉफ्टवेयर इंस्टॉल करवाएगी या हार्डवेयर इंस्टॉल करवाएगी, कैसे वो डिसाइड करेंगे हम?
That's a very good question. Okay. अच्छा, ये दिमाग में किससे किससे क्वेश्चन है, ये सेम जो पूछा है, आई थिंक मल्टीपल लोग के दिमाग में क्वेश्चन होगा राइट कि क्या इंस्टॉल कराइए. इट्स वेरी यूनिक राइट. आज के डेट में हम जो टारगेट कर रहे हैं, वी हैव द सॉल्यूशन कि कुछ कंपनियां आपका हार्डवेयर फायरवॉल को इंस्टॉल कर रही है एंड कुछ कंपनियां दे आर गोइंग टू यूज द सॉफ्टवेयर फायरवॉल एज वेल. अब होता क्या है कि द क्लाउड इज ग्रोइंग डे बाय डे. सो क्लाउड के अंदर ना यू कैन नॉट इंस्टॉल द हार्डवेयर. समझो बात को, एजोर का क्लाउड है, AWS का क्लाउड है, GCP क्लाउड है. यू हैव टू डिप्लॉय द फायरवॉल बिकॉज आपका डेटा सेंटर वहाँ है. ठीक है. डेटा सेंटर के अंदर आपके सर्वर्स लगे हुए हैं बहुत सारे, जैसे S1 हो गया, S2 हो गया, S3 हो गया, फाइल सर्वर हो गया, सिट्रिक्स सर्वर हो गया, डेटाबेस सर्वर हो गया, और भी बहुत सारे ED सर्वर हो गया. They connected with the switch, virtual switch. ये होता है V switch. So you have to apply the firewall also. That is a virtual firewall, software firewall. So how it is going to apply? So depend करता है सिचुएशन क्या है. कभी कई कंपनियां क्या होती है, हार्डवेयर का कॉस्ट बचाने के लिए भी सर्वर खरीद लेती हैं एंड दे डिप्लॉय द फायरवॉल इन द सर्वर. सो बेसिकली ऐसा नहीं है कि वर्चुअल फायरवॉल इज गोइंग टू स्टे ऑन द एयर. ऐसा नहीं है. यू हैव टू, फिजिकल में तो आपको बॉक्स मिलेगा ही मिलेगा राइट. बट वर्चुअल में क्या होता है, यू हैव टू वन ऑफ द बिग हार्डवेयर. जैसे सर्वर होते हैं, यू कैन परचेज द डेल सर्वर. ठीक है. डेल का सर्वर हो गया, इसके अंदर एक आपको VM बनाना पड़ता है जिसको बोलते हैं वर्चुअल मशीन. एंड इन दैट वर्चुअल मशीन यू हैव टू डिप्लॉय द फायरवॉल. देखना चाहो कैसे डिप्लॉय होती है, देखो ऐसे होती है, मैं दिखाता हूँ. सो इफ यू वांट टू सी हाउ इट इज डिप्लॉय, आई कैन शो यू द लाइव. दिस इज माई वन ऑफ द सर्वर and this is the Dell server. Okay, in this Dell server you are running the VMware ESXi. Cloud में exactly same होता है, वहाँ भी hypervisor होते हैं. And on that if you are going to run, you have to deploy, this is the hardware जो हम लॉगिन कर रहा हूँ IP से, this is the hardware. but inside we are running the software, and this software we have the virtual machine, and ये firewall है, that is the Palo Alto firewall. ये जो firewall है, that's the virtual firewall. देखो दिखाता हूँ. And in this firewall we can do exactly same thing, but it is going for the virtual networking. It's not for the physical networking. So अंदर कुछ भी हमें connect करना होगा, physical भी हो सकता है. This is the IP address 192.160 और 35. So अगर मैं यहाँ जाता हूँ, I will log in this firewall. So it is going to be login. See, and I can just go and log in. So this is my, और आपको यहाँ से पता नहीं चलेगा कि ये फिजिकल फार्वल है लॉजिकल फार्वल, बिकॉज पैन ओएस सेम हो सकता है दोनों फार्वल के अंदर, वर्चुअल एंड फिजिकली, बट दिस हैज बीन डिप्लॉय अंडर द वर्चुअल नेटवर्क. दिस इज माय वर्चुअल नेटवर्क. इसके अंदर ये फार्वल चल रहा है, एंड दिस इज माय ओएस सैंट ओएस, ये CCIE हमारा वर्जन है, एंड यू कैन सी दिस द हार्डवेयर मेमोरी व्हाटएवर वी हैव, but this can still give the equal kind of the feature what hardware can do that. Just we have to make the virtual networking, physical networking to make them in productions. So आपको सीखना पड़ेगा, इसलिए आजकल वर्चुअलाइजेशन की बहुत डिमांड है, क्लाउड की बहुत डिमांड है. So I hope गंगाराम you can understand.
सर ये सर, बट इसमें सर ये हार्डवेयर के यानी हार्डवेयर फायरवॉल की जरूरत पड़ेगा ना, बिकॉज अगर लीज लाइन हमने कनेक्शन लीज लाइन ले लिया है, तो लीज लाइन मान लीजिए हमने अपना रूट माउंट हो गया अपना फायरवॉल में, उसके बाद ये हार्डवेयर फायरवॉल जिसमें
ठीक है, समझ गया मैं आपको क्वेश्चन क्या है. ठीक है, आपको क्या करना है, एक डेल का सर्वर खरीदना है. हैव यू सीन द डेल सर्वर, या कोई सर्वर देखा आपने? ऐसा देखो, let me show you. I got your questions, what you're trying to ask. We have the Dell server, right? So this is my Dell server hardware. मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ. मिल जा कोई यार का इमेज. Let me see. Oh, let me find. Okay, let's take in this one. Okay, this one. अभी देखो ये वाला. So if I just open this diagram, see this is my, let's suppose Dell server. अब इस सर्वर के अंदर आपको देख रहे हैं कि आपको निक कार्ड है, राइट? सो लेट्स सपोज कि आपको देयर इज वन ISP, राइट? ISP है, you want to terminate the lease line, you can terminate on this NIC card or not? Gangaram, you can do that, no?
yes.
Lease line can be connected, right? So one problem has been solved. You don't have to connect with the firewalls. Firewall is going to be inside of this particular hardware, एक virtual machine की तरह होगा, but you can connect the NIC card on this particular interface. Now what happened? This physical NIC is going to be map inside your vNIC, जिसको बोलते हैं वर्चुअल निक. सो इसके लिए आपको वी स्विचिंग आनी चाहिए, द क्लाउड में जो होती है. देन योर फायरवॉल इज गोइंग टू मैप ऑन दिस लीज लाइन. सो ये एग्जैक्टली आपको जो फायरवॉल का इंटरफेस होगा ना, जैसे ये इंटरफेस है, हमने एक्चुअली यही कर रखा है, हमने भी ये लगा रखा है. देखो ये इंटरफेस इज अ वैन इंटरफेस, देख रहे हो आप 101. दिस इज माई वैन पब्लिक इंटरफेस दैट इज कनेक्टेड ऑन द फायरवॉल. दिस इज द एग्जैक्टली पब्लिक इंटरफेस, बट इस पे तो केबल लगा नहीं है. This firewall doesn't have cable. Cable तो यहाँ नहीं लगा ना. But this cable is mapped with the NIC, and that NIC is mapped in the physical NIC. And how it's look like? You go here and just go in the networking, and you can go in the virtual switch. You have physical NIC. Sorry, you go in the port group. Sorry, again I confused. Okay, go here. See. So this is your physical NIC, and this is going to connect with the virtual NIC, and you can connect the multiple VLANs, VLAN 20, 60, whatever you want to connect that is possible. Clear buddy? समझ आया?
यस सर. सर मीन्स ये जो फिर इस केस में जो वर्चुअल हमारा फायरवॉल होगा वो एक्सपेंसिव होगा हार्डवेयर से, आई थिंक.
नहीं, that's going to be low cost. क्यों होगा? एक ही सर्वर के अंदर आप मल्टीपल फायरवॉल डिप्लॉय कर सकते हो. 10 फायरवॉल डाल दो, स्विच भी डाल दो, राउटर भी डाल दो. हार्डवेयर खरीदोगे तो हार्डवेयर का पूरा पैसा देना पड़ेगा आपको.
ओके, थैंक यू.
All right, so I believe we are good for today, and let's connect day after tomorrow for the next class. Okay.